Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another Scale Riders podcast episode number 231. I'm your host, 65 Locs. It's been a while since the last time we recorded podcast episode. I think it's about, over a month, at least for sure. They checked the post date from the previous episode, which was the 230, and man, it was already like the beginning of February, before that holiday season of Valentine's. And now that we're in March, this month's like pretty much gone. There's like 11 more days till this month is gone, and it's kind of crazy. So much stuff has happened since the previous recording. So a lot on my mind, a lot of like things. I was like, before I even started this recording, I was like, man, where do I start? Because it's just so much stuff, And then I'm like, man, I should have wrote some stuff down, because I almost feel like when there's so much and it's on your mind, you might forget about some stuff, So let's start off, I guess, my current build I got going on right now for you guys. Before we get started, though, I just wanted to say thank you guys for listening to this episode. I hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are staying busy, or if you're taking a break, enjoying that free time to clear your mind and get back on the bench. So, I've been kind of on and off with this AE86 Toyota Levin by Aoshima, and this one here I used the Zoom On Pandem wide body kit. So it had already been some months back when I had installed the kit. When I had, just received it, it was around the time when it came out. So it was just something new to the eye, really fresh, cool looking. Got me very excited, because I don't know, whenever I see things that haven't been built yet, things like that get me excited, because it motivates me to want to create it, get it done, and not to be the first, but it's just like kind of just to have it out there, to post it, share it, and get others inspired to go ahead and try it out for themselves. So with this one here, everything like fit really, really well together. And once you get it all primered up, just those initial mock-up stages, it's very inspiring to see the car in primer all the time. When you see it like that, in that gray color, you're like, man, like, just the possibilities from here. What direction should I head to? There's just so many different directions. The arrows are pointing in every way. So I'm glad I took my time with this build, because I did take some breaks from it, and it was sitting on my bench for quite a while. And it wasn't that I wasn't inspired or anything, but I don't know, I just kind of tend to do this at times, where I just take these breaks and new ideas come out. And sometimes I'm very like grateful and happy that I waited, because something else came out of it. Ideas changed and so forth. So I kept thinking, like, okay, a car like this, what kind of colors should I rock with, right? Should I go with metallics? Should I go with pearls? What should I go with? I'm doing a lot of research, and I'm just diving deep into this car. All 1-to-1 scale cars that have been built. What colors did the owners go with, and why, and so forth. So there's some videos where there's some interviews on some of these builders that have made these, and then there's some that it's just more a showcase of the car itself. So just from seeing the types of paint jobs that went into the car and everything, I was like, all right, cool. They're going more for like a solid color, but I know with some of the colors that are very subtle, what's loud is the livery. They have all these decals and so forth on the car representing, the sponsors and everything like that. Some of these cars are put to the test into the track. And then there was other ones that, instead of, marking their car with like a huge livery, it was more the loudness was going to come from the paint job. is what was going to make this car like pop and stand out. And that was the direction where I was like, all right, cool, I think this is the way I'm going to go. So I went ahead and I mixed up some House of Color paint. And when I say mixed up, it's not that I mixed up like a custom color and I created my own color. No, I did use one of their standard Pavo Purple metallics. But when I purchased the urethane paint, the Pavo Purple, I don't get it ready to spray. I don't get it, reduced or anything like that, or and by reduced I mean like with thinner, So I pretty much just buy it, at least like I believe now they're at a 4-ounce bottle is what they sell you the paint, and so you're getting just the full paint, like the thickness of the paint for what it is, right? Like something you would just open out of a pint, out of its container, or a quart, and it's getting poured into a 4-ounce bottle. I separately have my reducer, which is the thinner, and I just went ahead and I had to get a Tamiya glass jar. I believe it's the 42 milliliter, and mix up. It's a 1-to-1 mix, so 1 part paint, 1 part reducer. Get that all mixed in, let that sit for a bit, mix it in again, and from then on you're ready to spray. So this color here for this purple, it's a very rich purple color. I have other shades of purple, but in different effects, like in a pearl as well. And when you compare the purple, you could see the richness of this one here. That it just pops, like it like glows more, So I do have one of the House of Color chip books. So in the books, it pretty much just shows you what, to get that color, what they kind of layered underneath, and for the color that I was going with, I liked the way it looked when it was under just the gray, like gray primer. So at first I was thinking, well, maybe I'll have to shoot like a base over the primer, and then layer the purple. But in this situation, it didn't require that. I could have just going straight with that. If this was a larger vehicle, a 1-to-1 scale, then most likely it would require it, just because I think it's more like a rule of thumb when you have your like a custom car, or just like any car with like a nice custom paint job. Let's say over time, if the effects or the color, the first layer of color starts to fade, you don't want to be able to see the primer underneath it, whether it's gray or white. You don't want to be able to see that. So for the most part, you want to layer another color, almost like a sealer, So let's just say, for example, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but just real quick, since we're on this subject. So let's say you layer like your gray primer, and then let's say I was going to layer like a white base, but maybe I might want to mix in a little bit of a tint of like purple in there, right? So I might put a little tint of like candy or something, like mixed in, just to tint that white a little bit, and mix that up, and then I spray that over my gray, so at least I have another layer of protection there. And even depending the paint lines you use, even that is considered like a sealer. And so now you have the primer being protected with this other layer, and then from there you go ahead and you spray your color, and then you go on with the clear coat. but at least you got that kind of protection. Since we're working with model cars, it's not really required every time. It will be in some instances because you want your colors to pop, right? If you're using more brighter colors, like your yellows, even oranges or a blue, and you want it to be a really rich blue to pop. But in this situation, this purple itself, it's already like pretty bright, and then with the fine metallics that are in there, it's definitely gonna have a shine right there once it gets clear coated and the light hits it. So I went ahead and sprayed that on there. I used my Iwata airbrush, two of them actually. One of them, the HPCS with like a 0.3 millimeter needle, and the second airbrush was my HPTH by Iwata. Now, so the reason why I use two is the HPCS, since it has a smaller needle, I'm going in and kind of just highlighting small areas, small little crevices. So for this one here, one of the things that I want to bring to people's attention is when you're airbrushing these models that have wide body kit parts or even just bumpers itself that you're attaching to the model, you want to make sure you airbrush in between the crevice of the edge of the fender that's making contact with the actual body, because if you don't focus on getting some paint in there, what's going to happen is you're going to spray the body, get everything done, the sides, the front, back, everything, and then when you look in there closely, you're going to notice that you're going to still be able to see the primer in between, and it's like you missed the spot. And if you keep just overall spraying the body and you're not focusing on that, you're basically going to keep layering more paint on your body, and not much paint is going to be getting into that little crevice. So with this airbrush, I was just going in, touching up those little areas. The same with the side view mirrors. You want to get underneath it, around the side view mirror, the inside of the side view mirror, even like areas where like around the gas tank, underneath the fender, like the wheel wells, you want to be able to get in there. Maybe the bottom of the bumpers, like the inside of the body, like the pillars, the roof. You want to start touching up all those areas right there, right? And the same with the door handles, to open the doors, all those little areas right there. And every car is going to be different, so there might be some things I'm leaving out. It just depends what type of body and model you're working with, but you want to make sure you get into all those little crevices and areas. Once and you don't got to go that heavy, just go kind of light, do some passes in there, just make sure you get some paint in there, and then once that was done, I put the airbrush back in its stand. I got my second airbrush now, and now this one here was the one I was going to start spraying the panels there. And so I started spraying from the bottom going up, and once I started getting all up in there, I started to proceed from one side to the back to the other side towards the front, and then working my way up to the roof and to the hood, and also the trunk, roof, and hood. Sorry. So once I did all those passes, then I just kind of assessed the body. I look it under the light of the booth, but then again I stepped outside, and under the light, better lighting, it was like nice and sunny outside. I was able to see, okay, did I miss anything? One of the cool things about working with the House of Color Metallics is they're very forgiving, so you could still go back in there and blend in and spray more if needed, and you're not going to really be able to tell, like, oh wait, you put too much on this side and that side. It just blends in really well together. It's, you know, it's obviously different from a transparent color like a candy, where, you know, the more layers you place in one area versus the other, it's going to be very visible, and you're going to see the air, you know. And with this one, it's more forgiving. So anybody who's like, you know, wanting to try out House of Color, you know, I would recommend, you know, the metallics is like a good starting point, and then later start going into pearls and further on to the candies. I mean, candies are going to be like your most challenging, and, you know, if something happens and you mess up or you just don't like the turnout, I mean, don't, you know, kick yourself so much. It's kind of expected that things are going to probably go wrong the first time around, because they're transparent colors, and it's your first time. You know, you kind of got to get a feel for it. But overall, over time, the more experience and the more you do, the more you kind of understand, you know, and create your ways of going about layering, you know, a transparent color. So now that the car has been painted, I went ahead and I have this like plastic container where I always place my models with their stand in there, so this way no dust, debris falls on them, and I'm able to just let them gas out, you know. So I went ahead and did that. I waited about maybe like 3 days just to make sure there's no smell of the urethane, and before I bring it in the home, because I didn't want to have that just sitting there in my desk or anywhere and being exposed to the urethane. You know, it's a strong chemical, so I always try to be proactive. I try to stay as much away as possible, let it gas out on its own before I come back to work with it. The same when I'm airbrushing, I'm wearing a 3M mask. I've always been in the habit of wearing my mask when I airbrush, even if I'm going to touch something up that's really small, like a wheel or whatever, like a small little part. I always wear my mask. I never just, you know, be like, oh, I'm going to hold my breath and like spray. Nah, like I always wear a mask, gloves, you know, things like that, just because you want to think of longevity. How long are you going to be doing this for? You know, how long do you plan? You got to take care of yourself, your health, all that stuff's important. But it's all safety. You know, you got to play by the rules too. You gotta, you know, rock this kind of stuff. As far as gloves, I mean, I recommend, there's different ones out there, but I always tend to go with this brand called Raven. They're black gloves. They're used a lot. You can find them in a lot of various places, and they sell them like in a 100-pack. But Raven, they're really, really awesome gloves. I get the large. One of my friends uses XL, but man, that friend, he's tall. He's a tall dude. So, you know, I'm like 5'9". Yeah, I'm like, my height's like average. So I think most people are gonna be about a large glove. That's like more a common size. They sell out of that box a lot in a lot of places. So if you guys find that, make sure you cop one of those, because trust me, you're gonna need it, and it's gonna come in handy. Have it next to your paint booth in a little case somewhere where you could just reach in, pull out a couple gloves, you know, throw them on, you know, paint and everything. This way your fingertips or anything does not absorb any paint, especially when you're mixing colors. You know, you're working with thinner, or even cleaning your airbrush. You know, don't expose your hands to any of that stuff, because our pores will absorb a lot of this stuff into our nervous system, and even when we inhale it, it's affecting our nervous system. So just make sure, just try to protect as much as you can, because I mean, when we wear this stuff, it's not that we're protecting 100%, but I would say it's more like in the 90% or 95%, right? Versus like 0%, no protection, right? So when I brought the car in, the next phase was, all right, I'm going to apply water slide decals to this car. So I went ahead and I started applying water slide decals. I have not shown the decals yet. That's going to be a surprise later, the decals that I'm using for this vehicle. So, that's kind of where I left off. I applied them. I always like to leave decals so they could kind of dry out and just get settled into the body, for some days before I apply the clear coat. The clear coat is like the next phase I need to add to this car on this body, but it's kind of tricky because there's some areas where I know I need to be very careful when I apply my clear coat, because there's some areas where there's some like clear parts that are gonna fit into that are very small, and I just gotta be very careful. I'm like, not that I'm scared, it's just like, man, I'm just thinking like, what's gonna happen if I know what's gonna happen. If I get too much clear in there, I'm not gonna be able to fit that part in, So I gotta be very careful when with the layers, when I'm gonna go in there and spray, So, and it's kind of tough because it's in areas where, man, like you gotta put like some decent amount of clear in, just to make it look smooth. But man, I'm so scared that I'm gonna like just kind of get in there. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Hey, if it messes up, then all well, Maybe I'll have to create my own fake glass. Maybe I'll have to put crystal clear and create my own glass. Just put some dabs of that in there. Yeah, there you go. Maybe that'll be a solution. I've seen people do that, create glass in small little areas just by using that. So maybe I'll have to do that, and I won't say a thing. This will be our secret, But so that's it for right now. Like the bench. Obviously there was a Liberty Walk. Lambo I was working on. I kind of set that one aside just because, I was like, let me move forward with this one. I'm gonna go back to the other one. So it's like a back and forth between those two right there. So it's been fun though, It's very hard for me to stick to just one. I appreciate people that do that. I've been trying to do that, but it's very, very hard. I do need to have numerous projects going on at once on the bench to keep me very excited and in tune. But when the time comes to work on it, I definitely dedicate enough attention to the car for a period of time until it's done to like put it away and move on to the next one. And then I just kind of go on full circle. I keep coming back until the model gets completed. And when it's completed, I'm like, oh man, I can't even believe it that we're done with it. Like, it's over, And then I just like appreciate the model for what it is. And over time, I criticize it, or I go, man, I should have done this, should have done that. And that's good because it preps you for the next. It just keeps prepping you for that next model. What should I have done? What direction? Or maybe I just, I need to stop doing this. I need to go start doing this other thing with this car because this is what puts me in the wrong path, So as far as like restocks and things like that, one thing that I didn't get a chance to even record or to even mention was I was very surprised to learn that the 64 Impalas came back to life. They brought them back after so many years of the 64 Impalas, from what we believe were discontinued. Back then you would find these left and right in different hobby stores or even Michael's. And every time I saw an opportunity to buy one, I'd buy it. I had like a huge stockpile of 64s back then, way before I even started the online store, right? And then over time, I sold them, I traded them, I gave them away to people that I knew like needed one or whatever, that were gonna build it. And And then it was announced, if you listen to some past episodes here on the podcast, there was mention of that. And it was done, and then they brought them back with like a yellow cover art. It wasn't the lowrider edition, but even those were very hard to find. Eventually, you started to see a lot of these cars on eBay, anywhere from like $60, $80 up to $100 that were selling. And, if someone really wanted one, they were paying the price. So now that model was kind of up there in that bracket. And then we learned, like, wait a minute, look what's coming. And 64 Impala, I could not believe it. When I saw it, I was like, is this real? And then, yeah, it was real. My distributor, had it in stock. And I was like, what? And, the artwork is very, very beautiful. So, for many of you guys that may not know, so that artwork right there is LA. It's Los Angeles. It's if any of you guys have seen the movie, I know you guys, for those that have seen the movie like Grease, and that scene where they're racing, the car scene when they're racing in the river bottom, of a ditch, a famous ditch, that's pretty much the LA River, where you see the bridges, that's what's the famous like 6th Street Bridge and all these other bridges that we have in LA. That cover right there is California. That cover right there is LA. Right behind the Impala, the 64 Impala that's there, that's the 6th Street Bridge, the original bridge before it got torn down. And now what you see is the new bridge with the new arches that's being created. I think we're going on 2 years now since the creation, since they reopened that bridge. But that's a famous bridge. The bridge itself, but that river bottom there. A lot of famous graffiti artists have done huge pieces of art, like Saber. He did probably one of the biggest pieces on the side there, if you look him up. There's also a lot of car clubs have done photographs, a lot of models, a lot of things have gone down there. It wouldn't surprise me if even like things from like the movie Jackass and all that stuff, like so many different things have gone down there. The same with like, if you've seen the movie like Blood In, Blood Out, they've shot scenes down there. So that, I know for a lot of people that are from Southern California, especially from LA, see that artwork, it's going to touch home. For those that don't live in California, have never probably ever even visited California, but you have this model kit and you have this artwork, this very attractive artwork, now, if you're listening to this is kind of a backstory to that. Another thing I wanted to add, and Jeffries had pointed this out, and even when I had seen the cover, it looked very familiar. Like, I know I've seen this before, right? And then when I started posting, the photos that this is coming back, Jeffries had posted 2 photos. So in Southern California, there's a very famous photographer from Southern California. His name is Howard Gribble. I've had the honor to interview him on the podcast, a live recording that we did some years back. This is like early on episodes. It's on the interviews on YouTube. So if you look up Scale Riders podcast, Howard Gribble, you will be able to listen and watch this interview that I did with him. So, I met him through Armando Flores. He's one of Armando Flores' great friends. The same with Jeffries. Armando, made this interview happen, connected this, interview with Howard and myself together. And I mean, he's a photographer that's been around for so many years, documenting the lowrider / custom scene, but more the lowrider scene since like the 60s. He is a guy who's known and got to witness, and had personal relationships with some of the best, greatest painters that we've had here in Southern California, that were the guys who set the bar, the guys who pretty much created, or like the godfathers of this whole custom scene that came out of Southern California, and he was able to get work done by them, got to photograph their work, and got to build relationships. He's released also photography books himself, and he's on Instagram. If you look him up, Howard Gribble, all these photographs you see are photographs that he's posted that are original photographs that are of his, that he's put out. I got to also see him and hang out with him when I went to Japan. He was in Japan. He tends to go to Japan like almost every year to attend the Moon Eyes show, documenting as well the Japanese car culture with lowrider cars, custom cars, and everything, So he's been looking at this stuff, all the time. And the reason I bring him up is because Howard Gribble owns a car that he talks about on the podcast. He even released a book on it called The Bloody Mary. The Bloody Mary is a 64 Impala. It was a car that was originally built back in the 60s, and through that time, it has a story where he documented this car. Things happened to the car. It got I believe it got rear-ended. Like it just got messed up, and over time, Howard Gribble himself was inspired to replicate this car, bring it back, and he created his version, his Bloody Mary, a 64 Impala, which he owns, and such a beautiful car. It's been in shows throughout California, and he does have this car. So this car has been in magazines, and Howard Gribble himself took this car to the LA river bottom, photographed it under the bridge, in different poses and everything. And when you start to see the pictures, and then you see the artwork, you're like, wait a minute, and I don't like to say, oh, they copied it, it's copied. No, I like to say inspired, because I'm for sure definite that the artist who created the artwork for the Revell must have seen photographs of Howard Gribble, must have seen the Bloody Mary, and had been inspired. And when Jerry saw this, he pointed it out, and it's like, dude, there's no other 64 Impala that's down there that looks just like that itself. There's just not, the Bloody Mary is like the closest thing. You see it, and then you're like, dude, definitely, for sure. And it looks awesome. It's amazing, But that's just another backstory right there, And it's nothing to take away or nothing. It's like anything, It's like, it's no different from hip hop, right? You got a producer who samples a soul record, maybe a jazz record, that is the backbone to the beat that he creates, that later becomes a famous track, and everybody recognizes the track, and it's a classic. But those that know and follow soul music, jazz music, right away know, wait a minute, that song was sampled from this song, and it's like regardless of what it is, there's always going to be something original, right? That is a starting point, and then things get sampled. But then again, these samples and these inspirations is what keeps things, giving it life, that keeps it alive, right? So, and that's what I mean. Like, it's not no negative thing. It's a positive, But that was just something I wanted to bring up. So, going back to the 64 Impala. So with the 64 Impala, I was excited. I could not believe it, and I was like, all right, let me order a dozen of them. I don't want to go too crazy. Let me just get 12. So I ordered 12 copies, and then I did a pre-order. Once I found out, all right, cool, they've been shipped, they're on their way, I'll get them by next week. I made the pre-orders available to my customers, and bam, pre-orders sold out instantly. And I was like, dang, what? So I went back and I checked, all right, can I get more copies? And then that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to order, how many more should I order? So I just said, all right, I'm going to just pull the trigger. I'm going to order 30 copies. And I ordered an additional 30 copies. So now I had a total of 42 copies coming my way. And I've never ordered that many model kits at a time, for like a new release like this, right? I've always done, the max like a dozen, right? I don't know. I'm trying to play it safe, not trying to overdo it or whatever. And I'm pretty sure most companies that have the space and everything, they're like, oh, that's nothing. We probably order 100. That's not me though. So playing it safe. And I ordered that amount, and then I started making those pre-orders available once my order got shipped, and it was like, bam, those things, like, within days, they sold out quick. So I was like, dang, all those are gone. And I started to think, well, all right, first of all, there's always been a demand for 64 Impalas, hands down. People want them. Now that they're out there, hopefully we start to see more Impalas being built, and hopefully more lowrider cars being built, or even custom cars. You could go in both directions with this one, or even just stock, right? And the exciting thing is that it's the price point. All right, at first I couldn't believe it. I'm like, all right, the MSRP, they're saying $27.99, and I was like, that's cheap. You never see a model that cheap, right? Because everything now, it's in the 30s. It's at least going to be 31, 35 to 38, right? And it's going to be kind of rare that you're going to find it at a lower price, unless you get a discount or whatever. But I couldn't believe it. I'm like, 27, something's not right. I almost get the feeling that they might have priced it wrong. Like something happened, right? But I decided I'm gonna respect it. I'm gonna leave it at what it is, right? So for everybody who bought those models, like, you guys came up, because once those models sold out, in my mind I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go right ahead and buy. Hey, so check it out real quick. I'm on the freeway. We're hitting traffic real quick, and I know why. I just passed. So there's a Mercedes pulled over to the side. He has so much space, right? He's in the safe zone, but the dude's tire basically like ripped out, right? So he's just like on the 3 wheels and the rim at this point. But I'm thinking, like, all right, this dude's just chilling, sitting in his car. Like, why? Right? So as I'm passing through, I'm looking, and this dude looks young. He's probably like, I don't know, 25 years old. He looks young. And my first thought right now is, Mercedes, probably parents' car, 25. And what is everybody's thinking right now? He doesn't know how to change a tire. I could already tell. Because I don't know, man. If you know how to change a tire, you waste no, because this dude's just on his phone. He's probably calling AAA or whatever, but it's like, come on, dog. Like, I don't know, man. This is a message for everybody. You need to learn. You need to know. If you don't know how to change a tire, if you've never done it, you better do it this weekend or something. Even if you don't need it, like, pull out all the tools that come in your car, pull out that tire, the emergency tire, and swap it out. Learn how to take off the original, pop in the other one, and vice versa. Put it back. Just learn how to do it, because I'm sure they never taught this kid how to do it. He doesn't even know what to do, you know? And is it his fault? Or is it his parents' fault? Or whatever? I don't know, man. But come on. Like, that's kind of disappointing right there. You know? It sucks, but I gotta call it out. I mean, I'm driving and I see that and I'm like, come on, dog. You need to learn. I have a daughter. And everybody who has a daughter, if your daughter's gonna go on a date with a dude and this dude doesn't know how to change a tire, that's it. They ain't going out. Like, you know, it's like if right now this dude's like with his family or a girl, whatever, and they're right there. Like, I know I said they're in safety, but still, what if someone loses control and just crashes into them? You know, you want to switch it out. Boom, get out of the danger zone or whatever. Just get out of the freeway. Get home, go to a tire shop, buy the new tire, and, you know, put the emergency one back. Boom, and you're good to go, bro. It's like 8 a.m. right now. You're good, you know? You don't gotta cancel anything. You don't gotta lay down in bed and be depressed. You know what I mean? But anyway, I just had to say that real quick. But so 64 Impalas, the price point 27. I was just tripping, right? So everybody who bought them came up. Because look, I went back to try to reorder more, and now it said MSRP $31.99, and I was like, all right, that's what the price should have been from the very get-go, right? But now what sucks is that you know, the prices obviously went up some dollars to purchase and also to MSRP. The whole thing just shifted. So anybody who's going to get it now, like for those that bought the first batch, coming back, if they say, oh, I want to get more, you know, they're going to have to pay the new price. But for them, it's going to suck, because it's going to be like, damn, I bought these for $27.99. Now I got to pay $31.99, right? And I mean, for someone that didn't get them and they're new coming in, they're not going to trip as much because they probably won't even know. But I wanted to talk about that because some of you guys might notice and some of you guys might not. But that's just, if you guys see a price change, it's not me being like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna switch it to make a few extra bucks. No, like the price still goes up when you're purchasing it directly from your wholesaler, from your distributor. Because like most major shops that are selling this kit is the same thing. If you do see a lower price, it's because they still have that flow of stock from the first time around, you know? But yeah, I mean, that's just, those are the little things that happen at times. It doesn't happen all the time. It happens rarely, but it does tend to happen from time to time when like products are reintroduced or they come back, you know. But as far as right now, I know that the MSRP, they have it at that. I mean, if they, I really doubt they'll raise it, but if they did, then I don't know, man. That's not gonna be a good look, you know. I still haven't even restocked since then. I will though later. I just don't want to focus on it too much. There's other things that I'm restocking on at the moment. So I'm just kind of, I'm just seeing like what else, like things I need to get. I mean, there's obviously a lot of stuff that I need to restock, but at the moment, you know, I'm more about, you know, right now, like just the space I have, I'm just getting out a lot of the kits that I have in stock and investing that money into other and restocks of other things, you know. One thing that has been very, very popular, and it makes me happy when people purchase these, are the God Hand drill bits. Because here, dude, I'm gonna tell you guys. So God Hand makes an A, B, C, and D set, right? Traditionally, more the A and the C are more the common sizes of under 1 millimeter and over 1 millimeter. So meaning it's like a 0.5 and then like a 0.7, 0.9 and so forth, right? And then the other set, it's more like a 1 millimeter, 1.5, the 2.5. And the sets like B and D, the cool thing about those is that those are the ones that get in between those other sets. So you're almost looking at, like, let's just say, for example, like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and so forth, 1.4. And then it jumps over to like 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, you know? So if you get like all the sets, you basically have all the sizes in the drill bits. And the reason why, you know, it makes me happy is because I use these drill bits all the time when I'm working with my models, because sometimes you don't need like a 0.5 or a 1 millimeter drill bit to drill a hole. Sometimes you actually need to go smaller, like right underneath, you know, that number, you know, and or even above by like a point, you know. And this helps because you get to kind of figure out by testing out the different sizes and what you need, you know, because sometimes the numbers have to be off a little bit to be able to fit something in, you know. Let's say, for example, you're using like a hose or a wire that you need to drill a part in, and then you need to stick the cable or the wire in, and sometimes the wires might be too thin, you know. At least now you have like let's say like a 0.3 or a 0.7 or something that's off, instead of being like, oh, I'm just gonna use the 0.1 millimeter, and then you drill your hole. Then when you put the wire and you realize, oh man, the hole's too big, even though it's really small, but there's such a huge gap. It's so loose. Like, you want it very accurate, right? So you start using these like numbers in between, the 0.1s, the 1.2 or the 0.3 or whatever. And from there, you start to kind of dial it in more. Oh, cool, more efficient, right? And in the beginning, you know, like, customers would just buy like set A or a set B, like, and now those customers have been returning and buying the other sets. And it's kind of cool because I like the casing compartments that they come in. They're labeled. Even the drill bits themselves have the markings on the side that tell you the size of it. They're very universal. They'll fit into any pin vise. It doesn't necessarily have to be the God Hand. Any pin vise you have, it'll fit in. I believe the end tip, it's like a 3 millimeter that it'll attach to, and you could tighten it and you go from there. Those hands down have been like the best. You know, I've been carrying all the sets. I have sold out of like A. I believe B's sold out right now. I have those on restock on back order, so they're gonna come back in. They will be available. C and D are available, but the other ones. But I highly recommend them. Later, I'll take some photographs and I'll post them up just so people can see them as well. But those come in handy. They're very durable, and I mean, they'll last a long time. You just got to take care of them. Man, I got to get some water. Gotta clear my throat. Just been like chatting it up, and I'm getting into the man. There's a lot of like you can't even, like, a lot of fog. The temperatures are getting colder too right now, but yeah, it's those drill bits come in super handy from God Hand. Also, the nipper. There's one nipper that has a blue handle. That's a workhorse. I mean, this nipper right here, it's very affordable, and it's a great one also for like beginners. And I think it retails at like $12.99, and it's like, man, like if you're in need of a nipper, like this is definitely one that is like a workhorse right there, just to get the parts, off of the tree. And I mean, more premium nippers are going to be more like those like Tamiya ones that they make. They're really great, but this one here though, it's awesome. It's a really cool one. We got a bunch of those in as well. We did get a big restock on the Display tweezers. We pretty much have like a large range of all the tweezers that they have produced, anywhere from like a fine tip to flat tip, and different angles. And also what we have available are the anti-static tips. So the tips, it's pretty much like a plastic. So it's anti-static, but it's also for handling different parts, because sometimes too the metal tweezers over time, they can get like little scratches, or might have little ridges on the ends, where when you're squeezing down, sometimes those little ridges, those little things get on the piece. So sometimes you be using these like plastic ones that are going to be a bit more softer, since it's like plastic squeezing each other, and it's not going to have the ridges. So it just depends. I mean, they're for, obviously the tweezers are going to be for different purposes, but they're there, and I'm very happy to be carrying them, just because it's like so many different angles on there, and those are available. Another thing too, we have just like last week we received the Model Cars magazine new issue that just came in. This showcases like the Hawaii NNL West that just happened, so that's pretty neat. Also, I don't know if they announced yet, but I know we've been informed that next year NNL West in Northern California will be the last NNL West. I know I've talked about it on the podcast before, but yeah, I guess once we find that out about the flyer, we'll post that up. So that'll be the end right there for that one. It's coming to a close, an ender next year in January. So for those that want to, participate, go to that. Make sure you start working on your models now, because that will be the last one there. And there's also SoCal Open that's coming up in May. That show is in Southern California, and I know if you go online, just look up SoCal Open 2024. You'll be able to find more information on that there for that show. It's coming up. Dedicated Magazine is also coming out with their new magazine that's set to come out this year. That's, everybody's been anticipating that magazine new issue, and everyone's excited. Shout outs to the crew, everyone that's putting that together. David and Willie, that putting that out, and everyone else that's part of the dedicated team that's been working hard and bringing that to life. Also, Armando Flores just recently did his presentation in Orange County. That just happened last weekend. shout outs to him, and also congratulations to him for busting out with the new presentation. This year he did it for this Orange County, the Impala show, Impala's magazine. They hosted this lowrider show in Orange County, and I mean, just the community with the RC lowrider, how big it's gotten, how it's blown up, especially in Southern California. I mean, all over the place. Texas, Vegas, Arizona, Florida, everywhere. I mean, I'm probably missing some states, but a lot of states definitely. With the scene, it's been growing. A lot of kids involved, a lot of family, with their parents and stuff like that. Lot of young painters are getting the feel for painting their cars. So it's been really cool to see that come to life. And part of his presentation, he brought out, he created the 6th Street Bridge, the new bridge, representing the heart of LA. He had laid that out. People are, cruising with their RC cars with that, along with attach that together with the Whittier Boulevard. So a lot of neat things. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do a podcast episode. We were going to do one before his show. We were unable to, and that was my bad right there. I was just, very busy and stuff, but I do want to do a follow-up with him, just to kind of see, check up on him, see how everything's going with that right there. But props to him. You can tell a lot of people had a lot of fun at that event right there. And I'm trying to think what else of events that are coming up and stuff. But as far as another product that we did get in is Skeleton released some more water slide decals. A while back we were working together on ideas towards some water slide decals catering to the Kanjo racers, the Kanjo cars in Japan. With building the EF9 with the Scale Riders livery, I just love those cars, and I've fallen in love with them because of this whole just Kanju style, this whole race community out in Japan and Osaka. And that was one of the things that I was like, dude, we don't have this. Like, we need this. We need this for sure. And just going back and forth. I mean, Skeleton has tons of ideas, but this was something that was like, dude, like this would be a dope one. Definitely got to come up with something like this. So, he did his math, and he created the set, and it's the Osaka set. We have it available on our online store. There's also some other JDM sets that he came out with that we have in our store. I mean, such cool premium decals, very easy to work with. They're pre-cut or die cut, whichever way you put it. You have the sheet, get your hobby knife, just cut it out of the sheet just to get it far away from the sheet, right? Now get your decal tweezers, get your water ready, dip it in there, let it sit in there for some seconds. Have your Q-tips ready, have your micro set and micro sole set ready, depending on the contour. If it's a flat surface, the micro set will do. And then just get your tweezers again, pull out the decal, start to attach onto the area. And once you get it nice and even where you decide this is the location, then start pressing down on it, getting some of that water off, and then start rolling your Q-tip just to get all that water underneath it, making it attach, and bam, you're good to go. But yeah, those decals are in. They're super nice. They're available. They're on the online store there. And then, there was a major restock during this period when I didn't record the podcast. And this is items from Top Studio. We got in, just a lot of a restock on a lot of their products in the store. I mean, people have been, picking stuff up. So there's some stuff we're running out of again. But there is plenty of other, especially the fittings. The fittings are really cool. The little toggle switches are super cool. I mean, all those little details right there are awesome, to add to any vehicle, even a motorcycle right there. So those are available. Oh, another one that, man, I'm very excited about too is we just got in the new, I believe they're calling it Crushed Carbon by Scale Motorsports. I know Zuman did their own. They were the first ones to release like a crushed like carbon. I forget, they called it something else. I can't remember right now the name. It's not coming to my mind. But they came out with their version, but it was like a smaller sheet. And in that sheet, it looked cool. They were the first ones that came out with it. But Scale Motorsports hit it out of the park. They came out with a larger sheet, like their standard size sheet. That, at least I would recommend if people are going to dive into carbon fiber, you at least want to get 2 sheets, per car. Not saying that you're going to use all 2 to one car, but it's best to use what you can out of one sheet. And if you need more, then at least you have the second one, as opposed to like you ran out of the first, now you need the second, now you gotta wait because you gotta wait to get it shipped, right? So this way you're able to get that right there, at least a couple to work with. But Arev, like he promoted it by like posting photographs of the crushed velvet itself, and man, it just looks so dope, dude. It looks so dope right there, just like posted up. And he did it on different vehicles, just different parts of the vehicles right there that he posted. The crushed carbon. I almost said crushed velvet, but the carbon. And if you go to his Instagram at Arev, it's AEREV. Look him up, man. You'll be able to see it. So we do have those in the online store. They are available. What else? Oh yeah, there's a new sticker coming up. A new freebie, a new sticker. We did a limited of 50 stickers with this one. So it's basically a Skyline with like a Scale Rider's livery on the side. This is the first time we're doing like a die cut vehicle sticker like this. It's gonna be like 3 inches wide for like 1 inch height, and that's gonna be coming soon. So I would say towards the end of this month, or within a week or so after the airing of or posting of this episode, we should be getting those in. And then once we get them in, we'll start adding those to orders. So that'll be a new sticker. We only did 50 of them. Later we'll do more. I always like to it's been kind of fun keeping things quite limited, for those that are like, collecting these, the Scale Rider, community / fans, whatever you want to call it. For those that are, collecting these, like hell yeah, dude, like this is fun. Like more stuff. Because then later in the future, you'll be able to like put all this stuff together and be like, man, like look at all the different things. I always like to look back and see all the different little tidbits of just like stuff. Like I don't know how it's gonna be in the future when I maybe I'll have all this stuff in a bag or something, and then I'll have to lay it all out and be like, man, look at all this different stuff. But But yeah, we might do another one with a different car in the future. So we're just gonna keep playing with it. We're gonna keep playing with it and seeing what's up, and then later we'll do something different. But any suggestions you guys have, let me know. Send me a DM, send me an email, info@scaleriders.com, or just send me a DM of products you're looking for, things like that. Any suggestions for the online store, anything like that, just let me know. I'll see if it's something I can get or not. I'm pretty straightforward on like a lot of things. If I know we can get them, then we'll get them in. If we can't get them, I'll let you know. Like, this isn't a product we can get. We just can't get it. Because it really just depends on either the distributor or the direct company that creates this product. If this is something that we can get direct from them, it's always gonna just vary right there. Sometimes the items are available, sometimes they're not. It just depends. Some vendors, unfortunately, are hard to work with. Some are like a headache. They're just not easy to work with. It's almost like they're just not trying to make any like sales or whatever. I don't know. I don't get it. And then there's just some that are super, super cool, super like fluid, super like, yeah, for sure, let's do it. It just varies. It always varies. Everything's always different all the time. You don't really know what to expect. But anyway. Another thing I wanted to plug in is I want to plug in some other online stores that we're doing since right now we're doing the podcast. One of them from Spain. The website's White Chocolate 124. So White Chocolate 124, he's always like trying to create products that have not been made yet. A lot of the stuff is obviously 3D printed, but it's really nice. This guy's very precise. He's very on point. I met him last year in Spain, and just seeing the type of work, the caliber of work that he does. And one thing that was super cool that I need to place a personal order for myself is I've always loved, once I started putting disc brakes on my cars, I fell in love with it. I feel like all my models need disc brakes. It makes a huge difference on there. And he came out with his version of disc brakes for cars, and especially for like Civics, Volkswagens, and if you guys are working on those kind of cars, check out his website, check out the washers. It's basically a set of the 3D printed brakes, like the rotors, and then you can insert a washer that's just the size of it. It looks so good as a disc brake, and obviously, you could scratch it up, you could weather it, you could do whatever you want to give it more of that look. You could polish it, you could do a lot of cool things. That's something that I want to get. Yeah, so so White Chocolate 124, I highly recommend his site. Also, now that the 64 Impalas are out and you guys have one or are gonna get one, I'm still gonna get some more. So, regardless, once you get your hands on them, if you're looking for wheels, lowrider wheels, right now, hands down, one of the persons to go to here in that is being shipped out of the U.S. Is Lowrider Model Car Parts. All right, check out his site. He has so many different variations and styles. Dude is like been killing it. What we've been needing for so many years, and it's there. Now that it's there, it's like normal. Like, you got to go that route with the wheels. So definitely check him out. Also, if you're in store for like wanting to get different 3D printed engines, even like a full like a 3D printed kit. I don't know what they call them now, but I guess just a full 3D printed kit. I know Iceman.com, IcemanCollections.com has like a variety. There's like a BMW a wagon, or no, not a hatchback. It has to be a wagon that he just put out. I know Scaled by Snacks did a couple of builds, like the sample builds, I guess, for the artwork, for the box art, and those right there, check those out. I know he has other ones. I mean, I've purchased a couple of them in the past, and I mean, there's just more stuff that keeps piling up. More things that just keep that excitement going. So make sure you check out his page as well. And yeah, those are a few online stores I wanted to plug in right now. Where you can get some of this stuff if you're in store looking for that right there. So I'm basically already here. This was fun. It's been a while. Man, I'm trying to think, did I leave anything out? I'm pretty sure I did. But we'll talk about that in another episode. I'll bring it up. But please remember, learn to change a tire if you don't know how to change a tire. Just to get out of the situation, for emergency reasons. You got a flat tire, make sure you get into a safety area. Make sure you know where the tools are at for your car. Know where the spare tire is at. Take out the tire with the flat. Put the new tire, on the emergency one, the wheel, and then toss. Once you're all done, then toss the other one in your trunk or the bed of your trunk, whatever. Get out of there. Go to your tire shop, get the repair done, and have them, put everything back, and boom, you're good to go. All right? And if you guys got kids, especially boys, make sure you teach them how to. This would be a nice project to teach them how to, man. Man, I remember in school it was like mandatory, when you would take like auto shop. It was like mandatory. You had to know, man. If you didn't, you were gonna pass the class. That was one of the tests. So it's just for safety. But other than that, and I'm sorry if I went on a little rant, man, but hey, I kind of had to say something there. And maybe I'm just talking to myself. I don't know. So make sure you work on your builds, check the bench, clean it out, organize your stuff. If you're not in the mood of like building anything, because I know we hit that point sometimes and we need a refresh. I mean, just clean your stuff out, clean out the tools, maybe separate your to-go-tos and separate the ones that are just taking up space that you're not even using. Don't throw them out. Just put them away somewhere, because eventually you'll need them later. Later you'll be like, oh man, I need this tool now, and this is when it comes in handy. So don't throw away your tools and stuff. If you really don't have a need for it, instead of throwing it away, just give it to a friend. Give it to someone that it's going to benefit. It's never a bad idea to do something like that. It could definitely benefit somebody else out there. So that's that little tidbit right there. But I hope you guys are good. Take care of yourself. Just drink lots of water, guys. All right. Peace out. 65 Locs. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for another episode. And please check us out at scaleriders.com. Peace.